Thanks to LL Bean for presenting today's storybook with limited commercial interruption.
I'm Melissa Nicolli. I'm a vegetation biotech for the National Park Service's Inventory and Monitoring Program. Today, I'm at the John Day Fossil Beds National Monument in Central Oregon. I have the wonderfully rewarding job of getting to monitor the vegetation resources within the parks. The information that I collect can help park staff make informed management decisions that protects their native plant communities. I love working for the National Park Service.
Chocolate is so profound in the human experience. Chocolate releases endorphins. It immediately makes you feel good. Physically, it does something to your brain chemistry that's absolutely real. It's not a health food, but it does something very profound that people absolutely love. And that's really what we deliver. We really deliver joy. That's what we are in the business of doing. I grew up in France and I moved when I was 18 to the United States. I was initially an exchange student and then I came back for good. I've had a number of different careers. I was in finance, I was a business school professor, I was a landscape designer, and finally I went back to my childhood passion, which was chocolate. I was 10 years old when I started and it never left me. I decided about 15 years ago to become a little bit more serious. Darcy joined me about 6 months in at the Fork Food Lab, where I was for a few months, and then we opened the shop a little over 3 years ago.
The first stage of painting our chocolate molds. Before we paint it, we polish each one by hand with a little buffer. Usually do 3 passes, 2 to 3 different colors per chocolate. At the beginning, we have various team meetings where we discuss the flavors that we want to do for the season. It's one of the very most fun parts of our job. I met Catherine and she kind of wooed me into the art of chocolate making.
She was quite pregnant with her second daughter at a party at my neighbor's, and she said, "No one will hire me," pointing to her baby bump. And I said, "I'll hire you." It was this sort of instant recognition that we somehow could work together. And she is just so remarkable. She is really the creative force behind all the colors we do.
We have a whole collection of different cocoa butter colors, and then we hand mix them and have a kind of a menu that we've created. And so these each have to set. Once they get matte, we can do the background color. And then the next step is Sarah will cast the chocolate and then we'll fill it, close it, and unmold it.
So this is the next step in making our chocolates. This is our milk chocolate machine. So we fill these molds. We want the chocolate to be tempered, which means the correct cocoa butter crystal formation has occurred. So now this is gonna go to rest to form the shell. And once the shell starts to form, we're gonna empty it back into the machine.
Sarah walked in the shop one day asking if we had a job, and I said, "Yes, we do, but we need to hire someone who has had professional training." She said, "Well, actually, I'm a graduate of the CIA in pastry." Well, you can't do much better.
We won a silver at the Northwest Chocolate Festival competition. It's one of the biggest competitions in North America, so it was really exciting. It was the first thing I created for the shop, and it's a chipotle mendiant with pecans in it.
And she's proven to be absolutely fantastic. She is the best production person in the universe.
The chocolate has formed a shell around the mold, so we're gonna empty it now. So we flip it upside down, we hold it, we give it a couple little taps, and we let all that excess chocolate fall out so we have a nice thin shell. And now we're just gonna let this dry a little bit while they crystallize, and then we'll give them a little scrape to make sure the mold is nice and flat, and then they go in the cooling cabinet where it sets the chocolate. You can see that they've chilled and they're nice and tempered. They pop out. So we're gonna fill these stars with our bergamot ganache. We will let them crystallize so the ganache can harden a little bit to prevent any leakage. And then we close them with layers of chocolate on the back. And then we cover all of the mold. So we have our chocolates in our mold that have been closed that are ready to unmold. So I'm just gonna flip them onto this paper towel and give the mold a little hit against the table. And here are our chocolates.
In the cocoa growing countries, the two biggest ones being Ghana and the Ivory Coast, they grow 50% of the world chocolate. And in those countries, the governments have banded with the fair trade movement and other chocolate buyers to create a much higher living wage for farmers. And many farmers saw their income double. And so, yes, you have to pay a pretty penny for good chocolate, but it is worth it because you cannot have us as chocolatiers present a product at a high price, but the people who originally create the chocolate are living in poverty, in terrible conditions environmentally, and so forth. So it's hugely important for consumers to understand. And Guitar, for example, as part of the fair trade movement, they have enacted a whole set of rules around which those people who buy chocolate abide by certain rules. No child labor, which is absolutely huge. There's a lot of child labor. And some players, like Nestle, sad to say, are not abiding by those rules. Some others are, and I think as consumers, you need to get the information. You basically put your money where your good intentions are, and you buy the chocolate that's responsibly sourced.
Ruby is our 17-year-old apprentice. She was a regular customer and very interested in chocolate and wanted to learn the ropes.
I just loved her backstory because she spent so many of her years as a youth on a sailboat, going to South Africa, to Australia, to Europe, all over the world. She's proven to be just such a quick study and so grown up for her age.
We've really tried to teach her our ways and have her learn kind of our style and what we do. I think it's so important to be in a positive environment.
The single best part of what we do is just getting to be together. Like Sarah and I always joke that we just literally laugh all day long together.
I love being able to collaborate and we all try each other's products and, give little ideas, or maybe we should do this, or there's a lot of option for change in what we want to do.
Catherine has created a space that's very supportive of us.
I have the best team in the universe. It is just so incredible. All four of us are West End women. We just love our community because we're very much a community shop. For us, being part of the community is terribly important because we have those connections. We know people's life, we chat with them. So there is this really strong bond, which we very much treasure.
Just being part of the neighborhood, people come in and they're just really happy to see you. Especially the last 2 years, that's been a gift for us to get to come to work and have people just be happy to share something that you're making with people that they miss or love, and the work community that we have is really special.
There are so many ways of using your intelligence, who you are as a human being. I started in finance. I knew right away I was very competent at it, but it was definitely not my life passion. I loved landscape design, but ultimately we all have ways of coming full circle with our life experiences. And I think it's so important, particularly right now, because so many women are quitting the workforce and they are reassessing what they should be doing. This is a time to just figure out what else you are really good at or what you loved to do when you were 10 years old as a little kid in France, and then really develop that. And I think that's enormously important because there are so many ways each of us can be creative in their life.
At Native Maine, we work with over 88 local farms and producers across the state. It's such an honor to be able to work with such amazing farmers and manufacturers.
We really value our partnership with Native Maine. They're just a great group of people to work with. When you buy from a local business, that local business owner is using that money to pay local people to work and then go out into the community and spend those dollars. Native Maine can do that for us, and we can focus on growing the food.
We're the pros at growing the mushrooms, and Native Maine are the pros at distributing them.
Hi, and welcome to this episode of Plate the State. We are down in Kennebunk at the Hancock Lumber Kitchen Design Showroom, and we are so grateful that we get to shoot here. Now, not that we need an excuse for chocolate, but this time of year, I think we all increase our consumption of it just a little bit, and especially after being at Chocolat Passion and seeing the incredible things that they make there, we're just going to expand on that and show you a few more things that you can make in your own home. Now, let's go see what Chef Josh has going on.
All right.
What are we doing today?
Well, I had so much fun at that chocolate shop. It was like serious Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibes. But I don't want to show how to temper and make chocolate. They do it way better than we could, right? Yes. But what I do want to do is show chocolate souffles.
Ooh, and that's probably a bit of a trigger word for some people. I think anyone who's never made one before, you hear the rumors, you shouldn't be stomping around the house. They're super intimidating.
Right. We're going to take away a little bit of the fear factor from it.
Perfect. And don't worry, just sit back and watch, and all these recipes are found on platethestate.com.
So I'm going to show you some quick tips here that will really make this no-fail recipe work for you. We have some ramekins here, just they're probably cool, not quite room temp, they're a little bit cool. And I have some melted butter. Now when you look at this butter, you can tell it's not completely liquefied, it's almost like semi-melted. Now the reason we do this is we have to very liberally brush the inside of these ramekins with some of this melted butter. You want to get it all around because we don't want it to stick. You want to take your brush, and on the lip and on the rim here, we want to just go brush straight up.
What does that do?
Now, I'm glad you asked that. So the souffle, the only strengthening power the souffle has to leaven itself is the whipped egg whites in the air, okay? So we need to give it as much help as we can to go straight up. If I just took this and went around like this, now it's trying to go against itself, trying
against
to lift
the
that
current,
good
so to speak.
Against the current. I love that, the butter current. Okay, so now that we have it all brushed up like that, we're gonna take some sugar, pour the sugar all the way in there, and so we wanna make sure it's all covered up, and we'll dump the sugar out, and that is gonna be our finished product, okay? The buttered ramekin all the way, brush straight up, and then we want to take our thumb and just scrape off just that lip right there.
So I think one of the reasons people are pretty intimidated by these is because you hear you can't stomp around, you can't be opening the oven door because they're going to collapse.
Right. Well, again, there's some truth to the fiction, I think, a little bit. You don't want to stomp around, you don't want to open the oven door because, again, it's only the egg whites and air that's making the souffle rise. If we open the oven door, we're going to radically change the temperature and the humidity in there, and that can make it fall. Also, if you do kind of bang around or let the oven door slam and you jar it a little bit, that strengthening power will only just evaporate out.
So I guess we sort of act like there's a baby taking a nap in the house, right, when they're cooking?
Souffle baby. Perfect.
All right, these are all done. What's next?
Those look great. I'm going to go over and make the souffle base. If you want to start whipping the egg whites.
Sure thing.
All right.
All right, so I have 6 egg whites, and you want them at room temperature. And don't forget, egg yolks, you can freeze them, so you don't have to waste them. You can save them for another recipe. So I'm just going to put these on high for about a minute to start to incorporate them.
So now we're going to make our souffle base. We're going to take some melted butter. Now we're going to add some flour, and we're going to make a roux. We want to just stir that around and get it until it's incorporated. This would be the same method you would use if you were going to make a cream sauce or like a mac and cheese base, okay? So we don't want to really cook it too long. We just want to get it incorporated. Okay, the next step is we're going to add cold milk. That's important. Cold milk to the hot roux. If you add hot milk to the hot roux, you'll get lumps. Cold milk, no lumps. Okay, so we're going to add that in there. And we're just gonna heat this up until it comes together. And it won't take long at all.
All right, and as soon as they start to, act a little foamy, you're gonna take cream of tartar, which is going to act like a stabilizer. And so we're gonna put that in, let it go just to incorporate. Okay, now we're going to add our sugar in 3 parts.
What I have here is some nice dark chocolate. Now it's on a double boiler that's just warm. I had this water boiling, I turned off the heat and just let it sit. Now I'm gonna grab my spatula, we're gonna come around. You can see how that butter and flour is now thickening up. Once you get to that point, you turn off the heat. We're gonna stir it just until it's combined. Okay, perfect. Now we're gonna add that to the chocolate. While Maggie's mixing the egg whites, I have the yolks right here. So I'm gonna add that with our roux, milk, and chocolate mixture. And I wanna stir it just until combined. Now remember, the heat's off here, it's just warm.
And how you can tell that this is ready to use, when you pull up your mixer, you have a stalactite and a stalagmite. So you can make your high school science teachers very proud of you that you can use that knowledge in the kitchen.
All right. Wow, those look perfect.
Thank you.
Those are perfect. So we have the chocolate souffle base right here. We have the beautifully whipped egg whites right here. Now, before we get this going, once we start mixing this, there's no stopping, right? So we want to make sure our oven is set 375 degrees. Move the racks down a little bit below middle because the souffles are going to rise and we definitely don't want them hitting the top of the oven. Done that before. Okay, so I have a nice bigger bowl here. I'm going to take the souffle base, mix it in there. Perfect. When you mix these together, we're going to take about 1/3 of the volume out, add it in. You don't have to worry about folding the egg whites in. I know, people are like, just fold it in. So what we want to do now, though, is we just want to mix it up to incorporate the egg whites into that more solid mixture of the souffle. Now we can add the rest of them. You can see how that tartar added that nice, voluptuous, velvety, smooth egg whites. Okay, so now this is the folding method. So we want to fold out from the bottom and just fold it in over the top. We want to keep those egg whites as light as we can and just making a mixture of the base and the egg whites. Folding from the bottom and up and around. You can see them mixing in.
So as soon as these come out of the oven, you have to eat them, right?
A souffle, as soon as it comes out, you should eat it like right away.
So you should plan within whatever dinner you are making to impress somebody. And
Yes.
ending with these, you need to sort of time it so they're
Yeah.
ready. Okay.
Like at some restaurants I worked at, you would like pre-order souffles for dinner, right?
It's a brilliant upsell.
Right? It's perfect. Okay, so it looks like a little lumpy, but don't worry. It all melts and it becomes this incredible dessert, all right? So now that this is nice and combined, we're gonna grab our ramekins that we did, buttered them up. I just have them on a tray here. And we're gonna take a little spoon and just fill these up kind of one at a time. Now, we wanna make sure that our souffle mixture doesn't get on the rim on the outside, okay? We wanna keep everything kind of right
Is that so
in
it
the
doesn't
middle.
burn?
Well, it doesn't burn, and it'll also make sure that it gives the souffle enough room to pop up, okay? Now, I've chosen to do a few smaller souffles here, because the kids are gonna love these, right? But you could do one large souffle if you'd like to. It'll just take a little bit longer in the oven. I'll give some the oven temperature and recipe online. Now, refrain from stamping these down, even though you might want to, because we need all the air in there to stay stable, all right? Now I'm gonna pop these in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes and we'll check, okay? Once they go in the oven, you can't open it, okay? We gotta let them go.
And remember, it's tippy toe. It's baby souffle nap time. And while those souffles are taking a little baby souffle nap, I'm gonna show you a really cool pantry tip.
We're getting there to sunnier days, being with the ones we love, and now with those you've missed. This is you remastering the art of life. And while you're getting back at it, we'll be here to help you master the art of money. Norway Savings. Live your life in color.
This week's pantry tip is brought to you by Norway Savings Bank.
Hi, and welcome to today's chocolate pantry tip. Now, we really love our video team, but you don't get to see a lot of them. And our director of photography loves his hot chocolate, so this is an extra shout out to him. And we are going to make our own hot chocolate mix. It helps save money. It's so much better than anything you can buy in the store, and it lasts for a really long time. Okay, so what you're gonna do is take powdered sugar, dark chocolate powder, milk powder, and then a little fun thing is to crumble up some 74% dark chocolate into some chunks like this, and that gives a little extra chocolatey goodness. And then a little bit of cornstarch, and what that does is give that little viscousness that you get in hot chocolate. So you're gonna put that all in there, whisk together. All right, and then any type of fun jar you can store it in. It also makes a really sweet gift for teachers, babysitters, anyone in the neighborhood. So when it's snowing outside and everyone needs a little warming up and you're ready to use this, you're going to warm up equal parts whole milk and evaporated milk on the stove. Just get it all warm. Then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons per serving. Start whisking that together, and we really wanna make sure it starts to boil so that cornstarch dissolves completely. Then, the fun time, you can ladle it into your mugs, and then you can top it with whipped cream. You can see all those little chocolate flakes floating around in there too. One fun thing that we like to do is to break up marshmallows into little pieces and then roll them around in extra chocolate powder. And it is such a beautiful and delicious way to warm up anytime it's cold. And we're sending a little extra love to Farmer Steph at Farm to Table Kids. Thanks for doing all that beautiful work you do. And for this and all of our pantry tips, just visit us on platethestate.com.
Worked at Harbor Fish since '73. Customers come first. If you don't have respect for the customers, you can't work here. Where else can they go and go up to a window and watch a full crew cutting fish in-house, skinning it, packing it, ready for retail? Don't be nervous to come down to Harbor Fish. If you need help walking up the stairs and get in the door, I'll come out and help you.
Hi, welcome to today's chef tip. Chocolate's on the board today, so this is what we're talking about. Everybody's kind of had chocolate in one shape or another. Here's some great milk chocolate. This is a nice dark chocolate here. Everybody's had chocolate chips. I want to talk about the mystery behind white chocolate though. White chocolate, unlike these chocolates, as you can tell, there's a big color difference obviously, and that's because of the amount of cocoa that's in there. White chocolate is void of cocoa. And so really all this is milk, sugar, sometimes I'll add vanilla to it, but Maggie and I don't really love a lot of white chocolate. I don't cook a lot with it, so I've challenged myself to create a recipe that we can all love and kind of turn the phobia of white chocolate around, okay? What I've done is I've taken up this chocolate, I've broken it up into some pieces, and I've put it into a 300-degree oven in a casserole dish, stirring it every about 10 minutes or so, and it's gonna take on this wonderful caramelized color because of the milk solids in there, okay? So I'm gonna grab that right now and show you. Okay. As you can see, the caramelization has come over this so much. Look at that, all those milk solids. Now look, it will seem to be a little like rough, but don't worry, it melts right back in together, okay? You can tell the color difference from the original white chocolate into that, and that's those milk solids browning. So why did we do this? What we're gonna do is, the second part of today's featured recipe, I'm gonna incorporate this into a brown butter white chocolate sauce, and it's gonna be incredible, and I really think Maggie's gonna like this. For this recipe and all of our chef tips, please follow us along on platethestate.com.
What are you dreaming about? Wake up to Town & Country Federal Credit Union. If you can dream it, we can finance it without stressing your budget. Sweet dreams begin at tcfcu.com.
Today's leftover ideas are brought to you by Town & Country Federal Credit Union, helping you stretch your food dollars.
Hi, and welcome to today's leftover idea. Now, it is a rare occurrence that we ever have cake left over in our house, but if we do, and if you do, instead of just eating it or throwing it away, Josh is going to show you a really fun little trick to do.
This is great. And Maggie's right, there's usually never cake left over.
I almost ate this morning.
But what you do is, if you have any cake, and again, this is our chocolate episode, so I want to talk about chocolate, but this can be done with carrot cake, vanilla cake, devil's food, whatever kind of cake you have. Make sure you get a lot of the frosting off, and we just want the cake crumble, okay? So I'm going to pick all this off, all right? And then you just want to kind of crumble it up, put it on a baking sheet, leave it in an oven that's off all night long, and when you're done, you'll have these great kind of crunchy cake crumbs, okay? So I'm going to take some cake crumbs and I'm going to put it in the bowl, and I like this as a landing spot for ice cream, because every time you get ice cream and you put it in a bowl, it's always soup and it always melts. So I find that if I can take some ice cream and put it in here, that way it rests right in the bowl and it doesn't move around, and then it doesn't melt. I like adding just a little sprinkle of sea salt on there.
We love that slack-tide.
Yeah, it makes it not so sweet. Yeah. So when you're done, I like this because you almost get like second dessert out of it.
Instead of cookies and cream, it's cakeys and cream.
I knew you'd say that.
All right, thank you for tuning in to today's leftover idea, and for this and all of them, please visit flakethestate.com.
We've been working with Brown Trading for 8 years. They're one of the largest importers of caviar in the country, and we're so lucky to have them right across the street. Caviar used to be kind of like this only for rich people type thing, and I mean, it's really not.
There's so many caviars, I mean, it's every price range. I'm really proud to be a part of Brown Trading because our desire is to help expose more and more people. It's good for you, it's now sustainable, and I think it's just awesome.
Hi, and welcome back to the second part of the featured recipe, chocolate souffles. The timer just went off, so Josh is going to grab those. And they look delightful, and we did not stomp or open the oven.
Oh, look at these guys. So they raised right up really good. Yeah. Okay. Maggie, I'm going to give you the honor. Okay. Go ahead and grab the powdered sugar right there. Give me a little sprinkle. Oh, look at that. How festive. All right. Those look beautiful, those little hearts. Okay. I'm going to put these on these plates right here. I'll move this out of the way.
So I can see that they're already starting to fall, which is part of the reason we want to eat them quickly.
Yeah, you want to eat them quick. So I took that wonderful caramelized brown butter chocolate that I was telling you about. I added a little bit of cream and I made this really super white chocolate brown butter chocolate sauce. Okay. Now, we're going to dig into this. Look how creamy that is inside there. Think like warm, steamy chocolate mousse. That's what we want, okay? We're gonna pour some of this chocolate sauce right in. Oh, perfect. Oh. Perfect.
Oh, this is gonna be delightful.
All right. Now, did you have a wine pairing for this?
Oh, yes, yep. We are so lucky that Kat from Sopo Wine Co. is our wine stylist for the show. And a problem with pairing wines and chocolate is you don't want to get too sweet on sweet. So she recommended this Liquid Love Late Harvest Zinfandel, which has incredible notes of vanilla and almost a cola flavor that really accentuates the flavors in this. And a fun fact, Tobin, the one this is named after, they had 6 tons of grapes that no one would buy, and he was a lowly winemaker at the time, like bottom rung, and he asked if he could play with them, and the owner was like, sure, knock yourself out, and now this has been winning gold medals over the past couple years. So it's just kind of a cool little story there.
And thanks so much to Hancock Lumber for letting us use their design kitchen showroom here in Kennebunk.
And thank you so much to Catherine and the whole incredible team at Chocolat Passion for sharing their beautiful wisdom. And to all of you, thank you for watching, and cheers to wherever your appetite takes you. We'll see you next time.
Hello, sunshine, won't you come in? It's been so long. since I've seen that smile. Oh, and I'd be grateful if you would walk.
So All right, I'm gonna go and make the souffle blade. I got souffle baby on the mind. Oh, look at that! How festive! That's horrible. Do that
Well, you
again.
moved it.